Hi friends, welcome to Enlightened World Network. Dr. Ruth Anderson and Michele Landers here for New Month Numerology. We are closing out 2025 and bringing in 2026. Michele is a board-certified life purpose coach. She's a hypnotherapist and a professional numerologist. She's going to walk us through how to find our own personal year and help us understand our forecast for this coming year. Michele, thank you so very much for being here.
Thank you, Ruth, and I'm so excited. Here we are in a brand new year. It's always exciting, right? When you think of a new year, new possibilities, and that's what we have. But before we begin, because we're doing things a little bit differently, and I think people are really going to enjoy this show because we're going to talk about your personal year. I'm going to go over each personal year briefly so you have an idea. Now, like astrology, this is if you were looking up your sun sign or your rising sign, it's a little bit of a general overview, but it definitely, I would say, is 75% accurate. If you want more accuracy, then get your chart done. But we're going to start with just a little bit of what you can expect. So how can you do that? All right, so it's really easy to figure out your personal year. Say your birthday is June, which is number 6, and the day is the 18th. You would just add your month and day together. So 6 and 18 is 24. 2 and 4 is 6. Got that? Now you take that 6 and you add it to the number 1. And I'll explain that to you in a minute why. So if you took 6 and added it to the number 1, you would get 7. So your personal year, anybody whose total adds to a 6, their personal year in 2026 would be a 7. But let's try it with another birthday. Let's take May 22nd. 5 added to 22 is 27. 2 and 7 added together is 9. Now take that 9 and just add it to the number 1, and what do you get? You get 10. 1 and 0 is 1. So that would be your personal year for 2026, and we'll do one more birthday just to give you another example. If your birthday was 2/14, 2 plus 14 is 16. 6 and 1 is 7. Add 1 to the number 7 and you get 8. So your personal year for 2026 would be 8. Now, why am I adding all your month and your month of birth and your day of birth to the number 1? Because 2026, when you add it together, equals a 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. So I'm getting the 1 from the year 2026. So you can do this for anyone, their month of birth, their day of birth, reduced to a single digit, added to the number 1. So I'm going to give you all an overview of what each year for you will look like and a few little tips. But before we do that, what we're going to do is talk about what is the energy going on? I mean, what's going on this year? I think we have this bubbling kind of excitement and trepidation, like, wow, what is it going to be like? Well, each month is going to be very interesting, I can tell you that. But let's start off with, what am I talking about? Like, what is this year going to be all about? Well, we're in a 1 year. In numerology, that's new beginnings. So what we're calling, or what I'm calling, or what many people are calling 2026 is the Great Cosmic Reset, or the Great Rebirth. And that is, by the way, individually and collectively. So we get a chance this year to what? Create a new story with support, to be bold, and to step into our power. Because let me tell you something, there is a lot going on this year. If you thought there was a lot going on last year, it's a lot. So 2026 has this kind of shift taking place as all three outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, settle into new signs simultaneously. I'm calling it the dawning of Aquarius. I really am, because I believe, I mean, for years we've been talking about it. Pluto went into Aquarius, but this is it. This is starting a new era for the next 9 years. And this new 9 year cycle is focused on innovation, bold action, and, are you ready? Radical social change. So again, it's the end of one era and the beginning of a new one. Excuse me. So clearly, since Pluto first started doing this toe dip into Aquarius back in 2023, we've been on the edge of the new era, for several years now. But now everything is fully shifting into new signs, and it's going to be there for a long time. So 2026, I would say, is potentially a once in a generation configuration of the collective. Numerologically and astrologically, collectively, the world is experiencing the beginning of a brand new 9 year cycle. And it's kind of like the universe is saying, here you go. You have an empty playbook. What are you going to consciously write? What are you going to consciously create? So we must be very, very mindful of what we intend, because listen, people, a lot of the stuff is that we've been talking about for hundreds of years is going to be really apparent, because our intentions have power. So what we intend and what we create, because whatever that is, whatever we give birth to, will have the likelihood of being around for a while, because that's what one year is. It's this energy, and that whatever you put into it has a tendency to be around for a while. So you want to really, really be conscious of that. So we're going to be questioning so many things. What are we going to be questioning? Number one, believe it or not, what's reality? That's going to be a big question. What's AI and what's imagination? However, well, perhaps this will be the beginning of a new era where we begin to sense or realize that when enough people believe something, it becomes real. Does this sound like crazy talk to you? I know, but stick with me, because believe me, we're going to have so many positive shifts. And before those positive shifts, there's going to be lots of shakeups and things. So this is really heady stuff. So the question, what's real and what's not, it's going to be a bit harder to answer this year. So I did hear another word that I love to describe 2026, which I really like, and it's called the spark. And I wish I would have thought of that. But it means that for the whole world, now that we're in a one universal year and beginning this new cycle, that one of the hallmarks of the year is, again, whatever you do is going to have long-term results. And it represents a time of birth. It's a chance to begin anew. And we can expect major changes externally. And I would say even internally. It can mean revolutions, but inside, we internally are going to be looking at things differently, questioning things. And so if I can throw something in, I really, really want to talk about this, but I'll just mention it for a minute. Terry Angel and I are doing a workshop on January 24th. I really suggest you guys check that out, because it's called Truth Mapping. And we've been on this mission right now. We did a free workshop to talk about what is truth, what is your truth, and how you discover what your truth really is. So keep that in mind. So since numerology goes in 9 year cycles, what I wanted to do is just take a quick look back. What happened 9 years ago in 2017? And why do I say that? Because things tend to repeat themselves. That's why numerology goes in 9-year cycles. It goes from 1 to 9, then it starts all over again. So there's usually some little bits of energy. If you look back 9 years to whatever that year is and go back 9 years, there's some energy there that is going to be significant here. So in 2017, I looked up what were some of the major happenings, and it was very pivotal. Trump was in office then. We had some major hurricanes. We had the Me Too movement, which was a major happening, as well as we had the Women's March. That was when millions marched globally for women's rights, social justice, and that was one of the largest single-day protests in U.S. history. We also had the Mueller investigation. We had a lot of power struggles. So, excuse me. So yes, there can be some loss in a 1 year, but it's usually things that should have been eliminated last year anyway. So not everything is going to be a loss for sure. But if nothing else, we are laying the groundwork this year for major challenges to come. And back in 2017, we also had major advances in science and technology. I'm not going to go through those. I was going to talk about them, but you get the idea, right? So there's some similarities of this new energy coming through. So in January, the year kicks off with an 11-2 vibration. Now, the 11-2 has two important elements. One is, because it's ruled by Uranus, is surprises. And the other is people coming together in a much more obvious visual way, or conversely, groups breaking apart, groups that haven't been sustaining us. It's this energy of coming together, but Uranus, since it surprises, will also break apart which isn't working. People coming together in, as I said, in a very, very obvious way, and that's already taken hold, because a really good example was in Chicago recently, where people blew whistles to alert communities. They're still doing this when ICE agents are present. So they took it upon themselves, and that's what we're going to see this year. A lot more of people saying no more. As ordinary citizens do something, they actually do something, and hence what happened is they turned this simple little tool, right, into a powerful defense against raids. So using a little ingenuity, we can change things. Now, I don't think the beginning of January is going to be too loud. And the reason I'm using the word loud, at least the first part of January, is because there's going to be a lot of loud things this year. And that's going to be a lot of shocks, a lot of surprises, a lot of, speaking out. February definitely is going to bring loud or more obvious events. And in January, we have Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Saturn all in Capricorn, all of them. Now, that is a really intense concentration of energy. So what is that about? What's Capricorn about? Capricorn is the goat, right? It's ambitious, it's discipline, it's achievement, it's setting new foundations. I want to mention that also things are definitely happening behind the scenes, things being decided that it will come out sooner rather than later. And I just feel like this Capricorn energy, the New Year energy, so many people are going to be feeling this, saying, okay, either enough is enough, or this is the year I'm going to launch my new project, or this is the year I'm going to move, or this is the year I'm going to make a commitment, or this is the year I'm going to end a commitment. It's a lot of that energy. I'm going to do this. So overall, I have to say, with Pluto firmly entrenched in Aquarius and the heavy emphasis on air signs, we can expect the science fields, technology fields to really soar, lots of innovation. And I got to tell you, AI is going to be off the charts, which is going to create its own positive events or positive experiences and not so positive, but AI off the charts. And the year, by the nature of the planets where they are, and I love this how in numerology they all come together, and numerology, the year is much more intellectual. It's more of a thinking type of energy about ideas, much more mental activity, more action happening. And again, I just want to remind people this is outwardly, but internally as well. And I thought about something else, and I'm not sure how this is going to pan out or how true it's going to be, but I think it is. In numerology, the number one also corresponds to the head, the face, the spine, and well, our vital energy. So I'm wondering if we're going to see advances in neuroscience, in neurology, things and diseases having to do with the brain, the head, maybe the eyes, the face, maybe advances in MS or different, different brain and diseases that originate in the brain, but also, again, things having to do with the face, the eyes, the spine. I think functional medicine is going to become much more popular. It is, again, a thinking and imagining energy this year. Leaders, number one, remember, number one, pioneer. It's also leaders. More than one leader will be in the spotlight. Now, people might say, yeah, well, they're always in the spotlight. But this is a little bit different. Some are going to be leaving their positions, either intentionally or not. There probably will be changes in leadership around the world. I'm also thinking of royalty, something having to do with the royal family. I have to say, Trump's numerological chart and astrological chart is very dicey. It's definitely showing a shift. There's something that I saw in his chart years ago. But this year, he has to be careful of accidents. There's other aspects too, but they all include his work, his health, people that he works with, those that work for him. It could even involve family members, but there is so much energetic shifts happening for him. And usually, if these big shifts are coming in someone's chart, it's usually around their birthday, but it can be, and that's for everyone here, to remember that as well. It can be 2 months before or 2 months after. So individually and collectively, we have to be very decisive, very disciplined. The energy of the one is male oriented. So in sociology, what do they say? Going way back to the caveman, sociologically, men went out there, they knew what they wanted, they hunted it down, they brought it home. That was it. They did the kill, they brought it home. Women are much more, well, let me try this, let me try that, let me look at this. This year, it's not a dilly-dallying type of energy. It's about moving forward. It's fast moving. It's taking action. Things can and will happen quickly this year, sometimes too quickly. And that has to do with surprises as well, because just be aware that the one can also be rash and impulsive. So if you're aware of this and you're aware that it's a thinking energy, all I can say is you may have these tons of new ideas and things you want to do, and that's great. And as I said, no dilly-dallying, but don't be rash. Just think everything out. And again, what's fascinating to me is that astrologically, a lot of the planets are in masculine signs. They're predominating, and that's going to bring a lot of fire and air energy. And again, what is that? That's action, It's fast moving, it's thinking. In astronomy, we can probably expect, I'm thinking, to discover new planets, even outside our solar system. And in addition to that, and this is another mirror in Chinese astrology. Now, Chinese astrology doesn't actually begin until February 17th, but it's still the energy of it is, guess what? The fire horse. I mean, really, just by the name, you can easily deduce what it's all about, right? It's action, it's dynamic energy. It's associated with heightened energy, with passion, with a drive for success. So you're getting the picture, right? This is a really full and energetically vibrant year for sure. So I love how independently each of these modalities are mirroring one another. But then I also have to say the energy is also mirroring us. So sit with that a bit. We have collectively brought all of this about. Now, that's the good and the bad news, right? So, but we can affect change collectively without a doubt. So sit tight and buckle your seatbelt this year. So, just want to throw this out, the zodiac signs that really benefit, not that everybody won't benefit, but can really feel the effects from all this fire energy, air energy, are the air and fire signs: Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, which are fire signs, and the air signs, which are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And again, everybody is going to feel this, but more intensely, I would say, those signs. Okay, financially, maybe I think there's going to be a pullback on Bitcoin, and obviously, I am not a financial advisor by any stretch of the imagination, but that's what I'm thinking about Bitcoin. But that doesn't mean in the long run, I think Bitcoin is the wave of the future, but that's just a personal opinion. Stock market overall is good, but at the same time, I think there's going to be fluctuations, and sometimes there may be wild dips based on some unexpected or even shocking news that takes place. So the general astrological themes for 2026, I'm just going to go over the key aspects. Planetary sign changes. 3 outer planets will enter new signs. These shifts the collective energy from earth, water to fire, air. Then key planetary transits. Major transits include Jupiter moving from Gemini to Cancer, that's in June, and then Leo in October of this year into Leo, while Saturn remains in Pisces throughout the year. Some other major astrological events: January 26th, all the way to 2038, we have Neptune re-entering Aries, beginning a 14-year cycle. Now, this is definitely a generational shift. Neptune is going from dreamy Pisces, but we do love Pisces, to what? Action-taking Aries. And again, this is bold energy. It's courageous. It's change. It's going to definitely challenge old beliefs and support inspired changes, visionary building, and it is confronting reality. We also have Saturn returning to Aries, and that's discipline meets initiative. So February 13th, 2026, all the way to April 12th, 2028, Saturn re-enters Aries. So Saturn, Saturn is the taskmaster, the teacher. Saturn does what? It says, okay, you need to bring structure and practicality to all of your fiery new ideas. And that's what I was referencing before. So It asks us to please not be rushed, or Saturn isn't so much asking. Saturn usually demands, don't be rushed, don't be impulsive. And also, Saturn reminds us that he is the Lord karma. So you best be very careful and mindful of your decisions and your actions. Saturn's energy and karma can be quick. So, we just have to be mindful of all our, again, decisions and actions. But also bear in mind, Saturn is in its fall in Aries. It just means that it's not very happy there. So we can really expect challenges with how we manage our behaviors and how we manage our anger. So we have to be very conscious of that. Also, people born between 1996 to 1999 are going to experience their first Saturn return. And this would be a period that's associated with major life changes, could be challenges. It could be pushing you towards more personal growth. We also have, let's see, we have a Saturn-Neptune conjunction at 0 degrees Aries that is exact on February 20th. That is a big day. So we have Saturn conjunct Neptune at 0 degrees of Aries, and this is being called the great, that's where this great cosmic reset is coming from. Why is that? Well, at 0 degrees, that's a critical degree. In Aries, this marks a brand new, bold energy and the beginning of a brand new 36-year cycle. So we can see we have a lot of energy that is going forward, that, planets changing signs and all of this new energy. So again, Saturn's discipline and structure. Neptune is dreamy, illusionary, spiritual, and Aries is fiery and action. This is really powerful. And it can mean the dissolution of old frameworks, societal ideologies, and the beginning of new, pioneering, radical new ideas, a new era. I just have no doubt about that this year. And, these dates, I want people to keep in mind the energy is definitely there, and it can be around those dates. But it can be a little bit later in the year too. But February 20th, I would red mark that. So we have the opportunity and support of the universe right now to move from vision to actual reality. And again, will it happen on that day? Well, you know how these transits operate. So it could be something radical on that day, or more likely, I'm thinking we could be feeling this energy. Something may happen that day, but we're going to be feeling this energy over the long haul. But make no mistake, we will feel it. This is a 0 point, and that's the start of the zodiac, symbolizing new beginnings, raw energy, and a break from the past, a fresh slate for the collective consciousness. I'm really, really excited about so many of these changes and transits, and I know there's going to be some hiccups, but that's okay. We also have Uranus entering Gemini for 7 years, from April 25, 2026 until May 2033. And guess what? That's another revolutionary transit. Uranus is air energy, and which is what we've been talking about, thinking, the future, innovation, revolution. And what's Gemini? Gemini is also innovation and can be revolution. So we can see revolutions in what? Communication and technology, AI, social media, how we connect globally. So in the past, Uranus and Gemini has had major technological impacts and shifts. And this was from an astrologer, and she said Uranus is a kind of like the lightning bolt of inspiration. And in Gemini, which is another air sign, people are going to have those aha moments. They're like, oh my God, I see things differently. And that's a big thing. And again, that's what our workshop is about on the 24th. Oh my God, I see things differently. All right, so let's move on though to we have Chiron in Taurus, which is deep, deep healing and integration. So initially it's going to be June 19th to September 17th this year. And what's Chiron is known as what? The wounded healer. And that transit is going to highlight our self-esteem, our self-worth, our emotions, and deep healing of our emotions. So much of the energy, so many of the planets, the numbers, everything is pointing to new healing, taking a fresh look at things. It's pretty exciting. Now in July, July 15th, we have an exact sextile between Uranus and Neptune. So what's the significance of that? This is really good energy. It's a good flow of energy between Uranus and Neptune. And again, what does it support? Technological breakthroughs, humanitarian interests, which I am going to emphasize this year as well, inspired action, creative inspiration. It's really, it's similar to the sextiles that occurred in a very revolutionary period during the late 60s. So, but this rare alignment is part of a larger configuration, often referred to as a minor grand trine, which involves Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune. Now that was from last year up until 228. So sometimes it seems to get worse before it gets better, but the collective, it's sort of like everything will be, or not everything, but many things will be exposed. Many things will come out of the shadows, and we will see things through fresh eyes. So I do want to talk briefly about something having to do with aliens. In 2021, there was quite a few incidences that we heard about on national news of what's called UAP sightings. I don't know why they're called UAP now. Unidentified anomalous phenomenon. Why they changed it from UFO, I'm not sure. Why they changed the acronym, but I don't know. I can guess, but at any rate, at that time, the government issued a report on national TV that UAPs were not from our military or other advanced US government technology. That's a very loaded statement. That was on the national news, but that was it. That's all they said. So I'm wondering, I mean, did we forget that? Have we been so distracted by other problems that we just put that out of our minds? Or do people really assume it's from other countries? Well, I got to tell you something that I'll tell you what show it was that I watched, but if you heard the report on what some senators, US Senate, one was actually Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney said on national TV that if these came from other countries, which is on a whole different sphere than anything we understand, then frankly, we're really in trouble. But either way, what he was saying that he doesn't believe it's from any other country. So either way, there's trillions of galaxies out there. So who knows what might have developed somewhere else, and they're here. So I would make a suggestion, and I would say watch on Amazon Prime, there's a show called Age of Disclosure. And I think it's really good. And there's, again, all right, I don't know. Like, do we trust the politicians? I know we have a problem with trusting some politicians, but I will say this was unusual to have some senators and people in government actually saying something's going on. So that I think is really, really something to pay attention to as well. But now what I would like to do is go ahead and talk about your personal year. So again, I'm going to tell you again how to do it. Take your month of birth, your day of birth, add it together. I'll use June 18th again. So 6 and 18 is 24, and that 2 and 4 adds up to 6. Add the number 1 to your total of 6, and you get the number 7. So that would be your personal year for 2026. Now, again, if you come up with a double digit like 22, that is a master number. If you come up with a 23, you're going to add 2 and 3 together, and that's 5. And you're going to take that 5 and add it to the number 1, and that would mean that you would be in a 6 personal year. I hope that's clear. And if it's not, listen, there'll be, I'm sure you can replay this or get in touch with me if your head's saying like, Michele, I really had a problem with this. I'll be more than happy. So let's go through the personal year. So if you're in a personal year 1, well, guess what? You have double new beginnings. You probably have a total reset this year, because this is a really powerful turning point for anybody who's in a 1 year. You're not just beginning a new personal cycle, you're aligned with the collective reset as well. So what can you expect in a 1 year? You can expect major life changes or either minor life changes, but changes for sure. A surge in energy and ideas and drive. It's like a lot of people in a 1 year are going, I'm not sure what their 9 year was like last year. It could have been emotional, but whatever it is, it's like, this is new things, new energy. It's a time to plant seeds. And remember, this is going to be around the energy that you put into your 1 year. Make it really good, because elements of it are going to be around for a long time. And guess what? This year, you have more control over destiny than any other year in the cycle from 1 to 9. Now, what does that mean? Every year in numerology, there's energy that surrounds you from the universal mind, the divine, and it's guiding you along this path, and it influences you. In a 1 year, it's kind of like the universe is saying, okay, look, it's a 1 year, it's new energy, go at it. We're not going to really interfere too much this year. Now, that might seem a little confusing to you, but if you want more information on that, again, get in touch with me and we can have a deeper discussion. At any rate, it's a time to be independent, courageous. It's a time for new beginnings, whether that's home, career, business, health, personal relationships, emotional. This is the beginning of a new 9-year cycle. Make sure your decisions are sound. It's better to keep your own counsel, so to speak. Be determined, be assertive, be self-assured. And little piece of advice, don't allow others to sway you from your goals or ideals. You know, sometimes we have these great ideas, right? And what do? We run it past the people around us. And then you get the naysayers like, oh, my cousin tried to do that. And boy, oh boy, it was a disaster. So you don't want to share too many unless it's with a trusted person, somebody who supports you, somebody who's your champion, somebody who goes, yeah, I support you in whatever you want to do. So be careful who you share that information with if you do have some new goals or new ideas. My key advice: be bold, start that business, write that book, take that leap. Just be sure that your new beginnings are soul aligned. And I think everybody knows what that means. Make sure that internally you feel that energy. This is the right thing for you to do. Now, how do you tap into that energy? Well, EWN has plenty of programs to help you tune into that core, your core, and listen to what your soul is telling you. So let's move on to personal year number 2. So the theme is slower growth, but in this global push, though. So while the world is speeding up, the universe is asking you to pause, to reflect, to work on your partnerships. Or partnerships don't have to be, I don't mean necessarily has to be business partnerships. I think we all know that. It could be your, personal, your friends, your significant other. This year you might feel a little bit out of sync, but that's only because this is a year for you to integrate. So the key words this year for you are patience, cooperation, and I used to use the word subservience, and I got a lot of pushback from that. So I changed the word subservience to, I don't know, I couldn't think of a better word, but amicability. Because what I mean is it's being like having a low profile in a 2-year. The year's full of dualities. The 2 is very feminine in nature, and it will enhance your yin energy. But what does that do? What's your yin energy? It promotes intuition, and it promotes cooperation. It promotes emotions, and also dealings with women will, more so than usual, be uppermost in your life. It's a lot of female energy. So anything having to do with females, and personally anything to do with, female energy, that's going to be uppermost. So furthermore, it also can bring a reconciliation of a relationship that has been broken off within the last few years. It's a good year for collecting. Now, that could be antiques or anything, or it could be just information. It's about partnerships, agreements, cooperative ventures, relationships, all highlighted in a 2-year. So what's my key advice? Trust your gut, trust the unfolding, focus on collaboration, focus on your intuition, focus on inner alignment. And just know that the clarity, because that's what all of this is about, you're cultivating now is definitely going to serve you in the following year and the years to come. All right, let's go to, if your personal year is number 3, the theme is express your new identity. I love the 3. It's creative breakthroughs, communication, and joy take center stage. It's also a very emotional year. This is the year to express your voice, whatever that looks like. Rebrand your life in alignment with the collective rebirth. The 3-year focuses on emotions and creativity. What do you have to watch out for in a 3-year? You can get dragged down emotionally if you succumb to the pitfalls of the 3-year, which is jealousy, scattering your energies, drifting without a purpose, or gossiping, taking things at face value. But on the very positive side, the year is so creative, so inspirational and social. It also has to do with youth and how that might show up for you. I'm not sure, but it has a young energy about it, 3. So anything of an artistic nature is highlighted for you this year. And although there is an emphasis on entertainment and social activities and enjoyment, just don't lose sight of your goals. Don't lose sight of your ambitions. But this is really a very creative time. So, my key advice is start speaking or start speaking out, writing, share your message, take up a hobby. Just don't waste this very vibrant mix of global initiation and personal creativity. So go to it, number 3. So, what if your personal year is number 4? What's the theme here? It's building new foundations for your future. So, the world's leaping forward, and you're being called to build the structure that will support it. So, what do you think? Systems, strategy, grounded expansion. So while the 3-year, that was a time for emotions and entertainment, kind of getting some of your ducks in a row ideas, the 4-year now demands attention to work and details. You might feel some limitations and you might feel a little boxing at times, but don't worry. It's a very important year foundationally. And although at times it may feel like a really like a hardworking year, it's really, really an important year as it's also laying the groundwork for your life in the following 12 years, not just 9. So the 4 vibrates to Earth. So there can be events or issues or talks having to do with anything Earth related, could be real estate, the ecology, but it's very foundational, starting something new, building something new. So my key advice for you, channel that 1-year energy into practical projects, lay bricks, not just dreams, and a strong foundation is definitely going to work, obviously for your benefit, because it's going to ensure long-term success with any of the ideas you had in the 1-year or the 3-year. So if your personal year is number 5, the theme is reinvention and liberation. So yeah, 5s, buckle your seatbelt. You're being propelled into dynamic change. The old you is dissolving fast, and the universe is whispering to you, you're free. You're free to be new. In a 5-year, the key words are change, restlessness. You may feel the need to transform many areas or just one area of your life, but it does feel like transformation. It could feel like you're on a roller coaster. It's a lot of short trip travel as well. The year is pivotal. It's full of surprises. It can be a very romantic vibration. It leans, usually 5 though, I find it leans more towards sexual, sensual. That's not so bad though, right? But it definitely has that energy about it. I did mention, yeah, it definitely is short trip travel, but be very careful when you're driving. It's slightly accident prone. And the only reason it's slightly accident prone, it's not like the universe says, okay, in a 5-year, you're going to have an accident. That's not what I mean. The reason I say it's accident prone slightly is because 5 energy has you rushing about and doing a lot of things and a lot of changes. So you may not always be, you may have a million things on your mind and not be real conscious when you're driving. So just be careful. If it applies, a pregnancy vibrations in a 5-year are very strong. So if that's something you're interested in, 5-year could be the year. It's also affairs of children are highlighted. So more things about your children. Maybe they're changing schools. Maybe they're going off to college. Maybe they're doing something different. Maybe it's a big trip, but definitely children are accented and highlighted in a 5 year. And also in a 5 year, I don't want to forget to tell everyone, it's a good year to learn to let go. I mean, it's always a good time to learn to let go, but especially in a 5 year, it kind of is that energy is pushing you in that direction. It's saying, let go of the things that are holding you back. So my key advice is embrace adventure, take some risks, say yes to new paths, but do avoid chaos. Change is good. Conscious change is much better, though. Okay, number 5. So let's move on to if your personal year is number 6. So what's the theme for 6? It's redefining relationships and responsibility. Excuse me. In a 6 personal year, it can bring shifts in home, in love, and obligations. You're reevaluating commitments and roles, asking, what do I truly value? This is a 6 year is a much more personal vibration. It has you questioning things. The main focus is on, usually it's on marriage, it's on family. People get married in a 6 year or decide they're going to get married or have children, marriage, family, home, domestic obligations, and responsibilities. What are your responsibilities and what aren't your responsibilities? That's a big question this year. And this is one of the strongest of all marriage vibrations, but it can also be a partnering vibration as well, which means it can concern your life partner, but it could also change to business partnering or friendship, making new friends. There is this nesting instinct is very much present in a 6 year. And there can be like this strong desire to settle down or settle in, or perhaps move or redecorate or change things in your home. Any problems in relationships are going to come to the surface this year, but equally true, guess what? It brings enhancement to any relationships that are strong. So my key advice, initiate healthier dynamics. I didn't mention that, I don't think, but yeah, take care of your health and start a new health regimen. Redecorate, relocate, renegotiate your relationships and your responsibilities because you are evolving, and it's going to take some thinking of where do you stand in your relationships and what do I really want to do. So that's number 6. So let's move on to if your personal year is number 7. So what's the theme? Inner renewal in a world of outer change. So this is very personal for me because I'm in a 7 year. So while the world is moving forward, if you're in a 7 year, you're going inward. This is a year of deep spiritual solitude, seeking, soul strategy. The 7 years very closely aligned to the 2 year in the sense of it's an emotional, feminine, and I'm not going to use the word subservient, kind of amicable type of energy where, you're just kind of watching things and being nice and always be nice and kind, but it's more of a introverted type of energy. It is a very, very, very important year in the spiritual sense because the number 7 in numerology is related to the God force. And personally, I have found, and I have no doubt that this is the energy for me this year. It's already started, by the way. Decisions concerning, there's 2 things that usually occur in a 7 year. One is decisions concerning important issues are usually made, and you're thinking by the end of the year, you're going to say, okay, this is what I have to do. Actually, you could start off the year like that. For me, that's how it started. I have found in other 7 years that I've been in that sometimes more towards the middle of the year, I start to feel that, okay, I've got to change this direction. Number two, the thing that I've noticed is acquaintances, people you haven't heard from or seen in a while, usually reappear or reestablish contact. Now, that may make you very happy or not, depends, right? So that is usually something that happens in a 2 year. So make way for old relationships or old, even, I don't know, situations with people reappearing. And that could be good. So nothing past day-to-day activities should really be pushed. It's more of a year of attraction as opposed to putting it out there, unless it's very well thought out. And it's good that if you do it with a partner as well. So don't push. Ask the universe to come to you. Whatever ideas you have, ask the universe to come to you, show you the way, put those people in your life, because a lot of time is going to be spent in introspection, self-analysis, reevaluation, and again, decisions concerning really important areas of one's life. So my key advice: retreat, reflect, reconnect with your inner truth, because you're building a really powerful vision that's going to take place and shape in, the coming years. So 7 is a wonderfully spiritual, intuitive year. So let's go to number 8. So if your personal year is number 8, the theme is power and purpose activation. So number 8, you are in a personal power year, and the universe is offering green lights, like they do when they're doing a movie. You're getting green lighted. 2026 is ideal for leadership, taking leadership position, business expansion, stepping into visibility. The focus this year revolves around money, power, material aspects, and authority. So while the focus for you last year, if you're in an 8 year this year, you were in a 7 year this year. So while your focus last year was probably more introspective, this year deals with matters of the material and the physical world. So what I usually tell people in an 8 year, so if the past 7 years have been handled in, basically a positive and unconscious manner, this year can bring a lot of plans and desires to fruition, accolades. It's good for the accumulation of money. Although I will say in an 8 year, a lot of times money goes out, but it comes back in, but more money being spent, but money coming in. And again, being recognized, and this could be in a big way, or it could be in a smaller way. It could be in your own little group, being recognized for what you do, being acknowledged, but it's definitely an authoritative type of being in the spotlight year. So my key advice is own your authority, make bold decisions, manifest with strategy, but also with heart. And prosperity is very, very possible and strong, but of course it requires responsibility. And that is the big theme, because a lot of things may be put on your shoulders in an 8 year, and you have to be quite responsible in your dealings and conscious in the decisions that you make. You may have to make decisions for others as well. All right, so let's move on to your personal year number 9, and the theme is completion, meets new beginning. So what are you doing in a 9-year? Well, you're wrapping up a 9-year cycle personally while the world is beginning anew. I mean, this can feel like a paradox, like, well, we're clearing out the old, but we're glimpsing the future. It can be a very emotional and sensitive year, but it's clearing away those things that are not needed in your life in order to begin your new cycle of 1 to 9. So the process will clear the way for something much more positive in your following year. It may be time to let go of some relationships. If this is possible, it's a wonderful time for long distance travel. It's 9 is the world stage, okay? It's not the best time to begin anything new unless absolutely necessary, especially in the first 6 to 8 months. It's a wonderful year to sell and advertise. Not the best year to buy, but if you must buy, try to do it more towards the second half of the year. It can also bring relief. I find that sometimes in a 9-year, I talk about endings and people get upset, but guess what? You might have had a nagging health problem, and in a 9-year, it goes away. It ends. You get it, as Grace Isis would say, you go to the repair shop and get it repaired. I love that when she says that. So it's going to, for the most part, a 9-year is going to remove those things that aren't working. So the key advice is release what's finished and celebrate your growth. The endings for you in the year fertilize the bold beginnings of the following year. Now, one thing that I did not talk about, and I really neglected to say this, if your total came to an 11. So let me think about this for a minute, how to explain it. Okay, if your total came to an 11, all right, your year has a little bit of a different energy about it. So if your total was 10 and then you added it to the 1, that would be 11. So I don't want you to reduce that. Okay. And I really apologize for not. So if you were listening to the 2-year and your total came to an 11, that's okay, because both numbers will apply. The same thing is going to be for a 22. If your total came to your month and day of birth equal to 21, and then you added a 1 to it, it would be 22. I want to read to you what the 22 vibration is. You can still listen to the 4, because that'll be applicable as well, but I'm going to talk about the 22. So let's start with the 11. And again, if you need clarity about this, please get in touch with me. Okay, so the 11 too, this is a powerful year. It's spiritual illumination meets what? The number 1, new intuition and initiation. So the master number 11, it's the spiritual messenger or the illuminator. It brings heightened insight, heightened intuition, emotional sensitivity. And in a 1 universal year, it pushes you towards really bold new action. So with this energy, I know that you might feel pulled between outer drive, inner vision, and this is how the energy kind of plays out. You're being asked to lead with light and not ego. You may experience emotional or spiritual awakenings, vivid dreams, intuitive downloads. People are going to seek your guidance or just your healing presence. And you'll need extra time for reflection because there's going to be a lot to process, all this energy coming through. And also, again, read the interpretation of the 2-year. And in addition, 11 is not only a master number, and attracts surprising and even unusual events, but it also brings in a double dose of the number 1, which is taking initiative and action. It attracts opportunities to learn profound spiritual lessons. It's experiencing revelations. It's kind of like a fast track for your spiritual awareness. It's psychic, it's sensitive. 11 too can also sometimes put you in the spotlight if that is within your area of your wheelhouse, your area of expertise. It can put you in the spotlight, and that's relative to your life. So please use this energy to inspire others. And my key message to you is, although the world is moving fast and you must lead from the soul, tune in, not just charge forward. Your sensitivity this year is your superpower, and it'll be grounded in spiritual clarity. So 11-2, you have a lot here, and a lot of really positive, uplifting energy. So take advantage of it. So what if your personal year number came to 22? Well, 22 is also a master number, and the theme is, are you ready? Visionary mastery. And 22 is global new beginnings. Well, how will that apply to you? The master number 22 is the master builder, and you're being asked to build something of lasting value, not just for yourself, but for others. That's the global part. Now, I'm not saying that whatever you create is going to have a global effect, but gosh, it sure can. So the universal 1-year supports bold innovation and stepping into your personal authority. So how is that going to play out? Well, you may be called to launch a large-scale project. You may be called to get involved with a mission. You may be called to start some kind of community initiative. There's energy for vision meeting action, especially 22 also reduces to 4. You stay organized and focused. And I don't know, you can go back and forth between this massive inspiration and feeling some pressure. So pacing is the key this year for you. And what you want to do this year is ground your spiritual values and try to manifest them into some type of material form. And that would be by creating something that is inspiring for the whole. So I want you to definitely read the interpretation of the 4-year. But this can also, know that this is a dynamic year for you, and it's going to be filled with opportunities and also challenges. It's the number of the master builder. So you can create something of a really long-lasting nature, whether it's relationships or business, whatever it is relative to your life. You've got a lot of power this year. But you must have the courage and you must have the willingness to step out of the box and trust that the universe has your back. Now, know that the 22 also has elements of the 11 vibration as well. So you have the 22, you have the 11, and read the 4 as well. So the message is, what you create this year can become part of your life's legacy. Dream big, but build it step by step with strategy and with soul. So I want to tell you that this is a glimpse of your personal year, and it's certainly not by any means, or not by any stretch of the imagination, is your full chart for the year, because there are astrological transits and other cycles, name cycles that are included. So might be a great idea to get your numerology for 2026. And if you want to talk to me about it, you can book a free 15-minute consultation just by going to michellelanders.com. So I want to thank Ruth and EWN for allowing me this platform to share this information, which is so exciting for the year. And I wish you all a blessed and happy new year, and step into your number. You won't regret it.
Thank you, Michele. What a profound gift you just gave all of us by spending the time to go through this. And as you said, if folks want their own personal recording for the entire year, you can give that to them.
Yes.
Their file. Okay. So friends, if that's the case, reach out to michellelanders.com. You'll see there's only one L in Michele.
Thank you.
Michele, thank you so very much for this. And we're looking forward to time with you throughout 2026 as you walk us through each month as it's coming in.
I will do, and I'm very excited about that as well. February. Big month, February. So, and more to come. So thank you again, and very, very happy and blessed New Year, everyone.
Thank you. All right, friends, thank you for being here at Enlightened World Network. Take good care. God bless. We'll see you all soon. Bye now.